All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk to you about a Bitcoin miner we have not yet talked about on this channel, and unfortunately, I do believe they are in deep trouble. So I want to go through what their situation is and see where they can go from here. We talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners all the time on this channel. So if you are new to the channel or if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button, I appreciate it. It really is helping the channel out a lot. Lastly, if you want to join the channel, you can become a member by hitting the join button on the YouTube homepage. If you don't see a join button, then there should be a link below. Members get some members-only content. In addition to that, we do a once-a-week members-only live stream. Also, on that live stream, the members get to pick a video for me to do. Okay, so we'd love to see you there. Let's talk about this company. I want to go to a footnote that was in their December 31st, 2021 financial statements. Okay, so I'm going to read you this and then I'm going to let you know in advance. Things have gotten much worse since then, so we will look at that. Okay, going concern. So this is in the auditor's report. The company's financial statements have been prepared assuming the company will continue as a going concern. As discussed in Note 1 to the financial statements, the company has suffered recurring losses from operations, has negative cash flows from operations, and is reliant upon raising capital through debt and equity issuances to fund its operations. This raises substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern. And for those of you who don't know, that means essentially for them to stay in business. So this was in their December 31st financial statements. We're going to compare their September 30th financial statements. Their third quarter results just came out, so we're going to be able to go through those. I want to compare those to the end of the year. And in my opinion, the situation's gotten drastically worse. So the company that I'm talking about is TeraWulf, stock ticker WULF. Now, I don't like doing these videos. And again, this is not financial advice. I'm not here telling you TeraWulf is going out of business and they're done. The fact is, we have seen some other companies do some incredible restructuring of debt and that kind of stuff and find a way to the other side of these types of situations. But TeraWulf definitely finds themselves in a deep hole, in my opinion, and it's going to take something of that nature, as far as I can see, for them to get through this. So I think this is a deeply distressed stock. Their stock is already down drastically, but unfortunately, there's an event that has loomed. What we've come to see with these Bitcoin miners is ultimately there's a day they announce to the public that they are defaulting on their debt. And when that happens, the stock tends to tank. It could crash as much as 75 or 80%. This recently just happened to Core Scientific, even though they were already down 90-something%. In one day, they tanked another 75 or 80%. If you're defaulting on your debt, unless you can find a way to work things out with the bank, then you're probably headed into bankruptcy. Again, none of that's a guarantee. So please be careful and understand what I'm saying. This is not a certainty, but you're going to see when we look at the financial statements, TeraWulf is in very bad financial position, in my opinion. And I think they're in big risk of potentially defaulting on their loans. Okay, so TeraWulf is a $109 million market cap company. You can see their 52-week range. They were as high as $40. They're at 87 cents right now. They've been as low as 66 cents. So they are not at their lows, but they're still very near their lows. And obviously down from almost $41 down to 87 cents is a catastrophic fall. They're down about 98%, but that still leaves them with $100 million in market cap, and that could disappear. So that is what I'm worried about. This is one of those risk rewards where either they're going to fix their problem or they're not. And if they don't, there's the potential that this $100 million disappears. Okay, now I'm going to go to their September 30th unaudited financial statements. This is under management's discussion, risks and uncertainties, liquidity and financial conditions. So again, this is what they just put out, I believe, on November 14th. And this is for the period ended September 30th, 2022. And then we're going to go look at the balance sheet and look at exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, the company incurred a net loss attributable to common shareholders of $66.4 million and negative cash flow from operations of $33 million for the 9 months ended September 30th, 2022. The company had balances of cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash of $11.7 million, a working capital deficit of $89.5 million, total stockholders' equity of $121 million, and accumulated deficit of $162 million. The company has commenced mining activities, however, not yet to the scale required to support its principal operations. So this company just started mining Bitcoin, and they're only just now getting going. So they're saying, they're not yet to scale to support their operations. Lastly, they say the company has relied primarily on proceeds from its issuance of debt and equity and sale of Bitcoin mined to fund its principal operations. So as you guys know, money is drying up. Source of funds are drying up. There really is no debt to be had at this point. There's equity to be raised, but at this point, their stock is down 98%. So they do have an at-the-market offering that they could potentially tap into, and they have, and they probably will again. But this is starting to dilute them at a level, when your stock's down 98%, this is the exact opposite of time when you want to be hitting your at-the-market offering. So obviously, you'd rather do that than go out of business, but I'm not sure that that's enough to get them to the finish line. The key statement in here is they have a working capital deficit of $89.5 million. So let's go to the balance sheet, and I want to show you what they're talking about. Okay, first I want to show you at December 31st, 2021. So that's the column to the right. Now, those were the audited financial statements, and even in this position, the auditor put a going concern in that they weren't sure they were going to stay in business. And at that point, they had $68 million in current assets and $45.8 million in current liabilities. Well, fast forward 9 months, and the situation has gotten drastically worse. They now have only $16 million in current assets versus $105 million in current liabilities. So that's their $89.5 million deficit in cash flow. So you'll see that is an imminent problem. I don't know what the solution to this problem is. They've talked about debt and equity as funding their operations, but are they really going to come up with $90 million in this short period of time to bridge the gap? Or conversely, there is another option. Current portion of long-term debt is $34.6 million. So that may be something that they can work with the bank to potentially push that off. So there's other things that can be done, but this seems to be the exact formula, let's say, that Core Scientific and a few other companies have already been down this path. And to me, it looks like TeraWulf is just maybe 1 or 2 steps behind them. So I don't know. This could happen at any time. And again, this is not financial advice. They very well could salvage this situation. We did see, for instance, Stronghold have a monumental restructuring of their entire balance sheet and go from a situation that looked like, almost certainly gloom and doom to a situation that's vastly improved. But I think when you're looking at current assets of $16 million and current liabilities of $105 million, and your stock's down 98%, it's starting to get harder and harder. That window of opportunity is shrinking, if not closing in on them. Long-term debt due within current year. This is the current portion of long-term debt. So that's the $34 million that's in their current liabilities. They have another $81 million past that. But the key that I want to point out here is this statement right here. The term loan is guaranteed by TeraWulf Inc. So there are subsidiaries and some other convoluted things in the middle, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, the company itself is guaranteeing these loans. So if I go back to the balance sheet, past the fact that they have $16 million in current assets and $105 million in current liabilities, they have another $81 million in long-term debt. So all of that is guaranteed by the company. So that also narrows their ability to negotiate. Lastly, and this is a lesser concern, but I'm going to bring it up. I would like to wait until each one of these companies put out a press release. TeraWulf conducts business in New York. Now, New York has just done a ban on all Bitcoin mining using fossil fuel, essentially. So it's a little bit more complicated than that. I did do a separate video on that if you want to check it out. But all these companies that are working in New York using fossil fuels, I believe, are at risk of being shut down. I mean, the law seemed crystal clear that they were going to get shut down, but there may be loopholes within that or extensions. So I'm waiting for a specific press release. I think there's several companies that owe us a press release specifically addressing, here's our operations in New York. They're either going to continue or not continue. So, that's the further insult to injury. If they have to shut down, and a considerable amount of their operations are in New York. So if those are getting shut down as well, then I just don't know where they're going to turn from there. Subsequent to September 30th, they did raise $17 million of new capital. So we saw they were short about $90 million. They've found about $17 million of this. So, they're working on it, but that really doesn't get them where they need to go. Okay, and here's the facilities I'm worried about. Under hash rate growth, they talk about a 50 megawatt building at its wholly owned Lake Mariner mining facility in New York. It would appear to me, based on reading their financials, that this facility does use natural gas, and natural gas is considered a fossil fuel. So this is the one I would like them to clarify. So I'm not going to go any further on that. I'm just going to point out the fact that a lot of their operations are in New York, and they need to tell us if those are okay or not. Okay, with all of that said, let's take a look at their chart. Okay, so here you can see from last November to this November, this is TeraWulf on the 1 week time frame. So this is 1 year of activity. They are down 98% as of today. So their stock has already suffered a catastrophic loss, but like I said, there is $100 million worth of market cap left in this stock. And if they default on that debt, the problem is if they go into bankruptcy, oftentimes, even if the company itself survives, the company that comes out of the other side of bankruptcy, there's nothing left over for shareholders. Shareholders are last in line, and so oftentimes we get left holding the bag. So that's what I'm just trying to put up a red flag about. And I'm not saying, again, I have to repeat, this is not financial advice. So I don't know that that's what's going to happen to this company. This is just, they seem to be walking the exact same path as several companies have before them in the Bitcoin mining industry, where it's coming time where they may be defaulting on their debt. And, that's the first domino. And you can see the stock's already down 98%. So if I zoom into the 1 day time frame, TeraWulf set a new all-time low at about $1.14 back in June when Bitcoin crashed down to around $17,500. So subsequent to that, they've taken that out substantially. They're now 25% below that. Just a few days ago, they were actually more like 42 or 43% below that. So this has been a rocky roller coaster ride. Just in the last few weeks, they've had up and down moves in the neighborhood over a 3 or 4 day period of 50% up and then 50% down. As of November 21st, which was 2 days ago when they bottomed out, at that point in the last 5 trading days, they were down almost 50%. Now, they had a gigantic rally the next day. They were up like 30% in 1 day. Today, as we sit here, they're down about 6.5%. So this is an unbelievably, extremely volatile stock. So please be careful trading this one. I just wanted to put this on people's radar. It's unfortunate the first time we get a chance to talk about them is to discuss that they're a distressed company and I think they need some help. So not financial advice. Please invest carefully. This is a ultra high risk stock. That's all I got for you on Wolf. So thanks so much for watching, and remember to subscribe and smash the like button. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.